Good afternoon, everyone.
Good
Today,
afternoon.
we will discuss about the measures of central tendency. This is one of the statistical tools where educators are using for them to interpret the data they have gathered from any assessment or other activity na ilang kinakandak sa mga students. So, introduction. In educational settings, numerical data plays a crucial role in understanding student performance. Among the most useful statistic is the concept of central tendency, which helps answer questions such as what is the middle score or which student attained the average score. Measure of central tendency provide a way of summarizing a large set of data into a single representative value, making it easier to interpret and compare results. There are three primary measures of central tendency: the mean, the median, and the mode. These measures not only summarize data but also offer valuable insights into the nature of student performance. Understanding these measures allows teachers to identify patterns and make informed decisions about instruction to better meet the needs of the students. By utilizing these statistics, educators can adapt their teaching strategies to promote student success and learning. So, in this discussion, we have three objectives that we should meet after discussing this lesson. First is define the measures of central tendency. So, you or we students should be able to define the three measures of central tendency: the mean, the median, and the mode. Second is to calculate the three common measures of central tendency. And last is explain the concept of kurtosis and its three categories: the mesocortic, metacortic, and planocortic. So let's start. So what is measures of central tendency? The measure, I can read everyone.
The measure of central tendency is a statistical tool that summarizes a set of scores using a single value, known as the center of the data. It is widely used to represent typical or average performance in a group. The three most commonly used measures of central tendency are the mean, the median, and the mode.
So when we say measures of central tendency, it is a statistical tool in which I use or it summarizes the data that you have gathered into one representative value, in which that one representative value can be used to interpret the whole performance of the group that you are assessing. So in measures of central tendency, as what I've said earlier, there are three: the mean, the median, and the mode. So, and we will first discuss the mean. So what is mean? To say mean, it is commonly referred to as the average of a set of scores. It is calculated by summing all values in a data set and dividing by the number of values. So here we are already familiar with the mean, diba? Mean is the average score of the data set. So mean is has a properties, and these properties will tell us on how or when to use or when the mean is efficient to use. So the mean is in mean, each score contributes proportionally to the mean calculation. So that means every single data that makita sa sa group or sa series can contribute to the whole to the mean. And next is the mean. The mean is stable and generally more reliable than median or mode in certain situations. So as what I've said, mean is all data can contribute to the mean. So it is more reliable because it avoids biased interpretation, because it every single, even though kanang lowest points ko na siya or high, makaka-affect din siya sa results. So and next is typically used when data is measured in an interval or ratio scale. So interval or ratio scale, it was already discussed by Ms. Tibod, no? So next is the mean is best suited for distribution that are regular, symmetrical, or normal. So why? Because mean is very sensitive to extreme values. So it is, and which can skew the results. So mean, it is very important that when we use the mean, it is we have to consider the symmetrical of the value. So because when we use the mean, it is very effective when the distribution is symmetrical. there is no extreme values. For example, there are mas daghan lowest scores kaysa sa kanang highest scores kaya because that can skew the result and it can kanang maka-create kag wrong conclusions if you will use mean in a skewed distribution. So the mean may not always correspond to actual data point in the distribution. And it is simple to compute and serve as the basis for other statistical measures such as standard deviation and correlation. So mean, the mean can be used for another statistical measures like standard deviation and correlation. So now, as we already discussed the properties of the mean, let's proceed to its computation. So first is the computation for group data. So kindly read everyone the first one.
The mean for ungrouped data is defined as the sum of all the scores or data divided by the number of scores in the data.
So, di ba, understandable naman, di ba? When we are solving the mean of an group data, we just have to add all the data that we have gathered in a series and divide it by the number of the data. So this is the formula for data file. X dapat dito na bar. X bar ng basa. Mean is equals to x1 plus x2 and x3 plus so on kung pila ka book data divided by the number of the data na meron kayo. Where x is the mean, x are the scores, and n is the total number of scores. So the more ka. So for us to further understand, here is an example. So compute the mean of 5, 7, 11, 20, and 18. So we'll just use the formula x equal ka na. Then we have to substitute the
Value.
The value. So 5, we have first to add the data before dividing sa n. So 5 plus 7 plus 11 plus 20 is equals and plus 18 is equals to 61. So 61 divided by 5, 12.2, correct. So nga na siya, ganyan lang pagkuha sa mean for an group data. So naiintindihan po kung paano ko.
Yes.
So naiintindihan nyo na po. Let's proceed to the computation of the mean for group data. So, in computing the mean for group data, there are two ways. First is the midpoint method. The second is coding or deviation method. So, let's discuss first the midpoint method. So, midpoint method, the arithmetic mean for group data using midpoint method is given by this formula. So, the formula in computing by using midpoint is x is equals to the summation of fxm divided by n, where x is the mean, f is the frequency in each class, xm is the midpoint of each class, and n is the total number of scores or observation. So for you to, merong example to dito. Here, a simple illustration for computing the mean using midpoint method. So in every data, meron lang talaga kayo is, itong x or the number of data or the class interval and the frequency. So hindi nyo yan makikita kaagad yung xm at fxm. So you have to solve that. So, paano ba kunin yung xm? So xm is the midpoint.
Multiplied.
So, sa pagkuha ng xm, you just have to add the lower boundary and upper boundary. So, the 1 and the 3. And after that, you will divide it by 2. And that's how you can makuha ninyo ang midpoint. Like for example, 1 and 3, 1 plus 3 is 4 divided by 2 is 2. And 4 plus 6 is equals to 10 divided by 2 is 5 and so on. So, ang pagkuha naman sa fxm, so you just have to multiply the frequency and the midpoint. So, 5 times 2 is equals to 10, 9 times 5, 45, 10 times 8, 80, and 1 times 11 is 11. So, after that, you already have gathered the data kailangan mo to solve the mean for group data using the midpoint because you already have the fxm or the summation of fxm is just the sum of all fxm. So you just add that all 10 plus 45 plus 80 then substitute to the formula, which is mean is equal to the summation, so it's 146, and the n, or the number of observation, or the frequency, the number of frequency, is 25. So you just have to divide it, and look at, ito na, masolve na rin mo yung yung mean. So naintindihan po kung ano ko.
Yes.
XM, one. You will add the lower boundary and the upper boundary. So ang lower boundary, 8. Upper boundary is kana. After that, after adding that, you will divide it by 2. So nga na mo pagwa midpoint. So 1 plus 3 is 4. Divided by 2, batok na kunin mo 2. Here naman, 4 plus 6 is 10. Divided by 2 is 5. Here naman 7
Constant
plus 9,
lang to.
16 divided by 2, 8. And then plus 12, 22 divided to 11. Ito na po.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Ang moment ng summation. So, kailangan mo ano ka dyan. I-add it. When you say summation, the sum of all fxm. Nakasabot na sa pag-solve?
Yes.
So, let's proceed na po sa coding or division method. So, a shorter formula for computing the mean is with the use of the process called coding or deviation method. Choose any class denoted by am with the corresponding deviation of 0. Then, the values of the integers d is equal to 0 plus 1 plus 2. So, for us to understand that, that's the formula. So, in solving the mean using coding method, here's the formula. Mean is equals to am plus summation of fd divided by n multiplied by cs, where am is the assumed mean, the EFD is the summation or sum of the products of the frequency and their corresponding deviation from the assumed mean. N is the number of scores or observation. CS is the class size, and the X bar compassion or readability. So, here are the steps on how to calculate the mean for coding or deviation method. So, the first step you need to do for you to calculate it is choose an assumed mean by getting the midpoint of the interval with highest frequency. So, choose. Second is construct the unit deviation column. Then 3, multiply the frequency by their corresponding unit deviation and add the products. 4 is determine the class size. 5 is substitute the given information to the formula. So, for us to understand, here is an example. So, here a table given the x and the frequency. So, we'll also solve the mean of this. So, the first step is to choose the assumed mean by getting the midpoint of the interval with the highest frequency. So, we already know how to solve the midpoint. So, in order for us to determine the assumed mean is we have to get the midpoint of the class interval with the highest frequency. So in the table here, diba, so the highest frequency here in the is the 10. So we will find the midpoint of the class interval nga present ang highest frequency, which is the 7 to 9. So, since the highest frequency in the frequency distribution is 10, then we will choose the class size interval 7 to 9 as the mean class and 8 as the assumed mean. So, asa nalagi ka ng 8? Okay? Midpoint.
Tunga.
Alam niyo na po diba kung paano kunin yung midpoint? Hindi naman siya given So, you should know how to solve that. Next is construct the unit deviation column. Assign the unit deviation 0 to the mean class. If the interval is in ascending order, place the negative numbers above the 0 and the positive numbers below 0. However, if the interval is in descending order, place the negative numbers below 0 and positive numbers above 0. So as our class interval is in ascending order, so the first thing we have, una na to buhatan is assign the unit deviation 0 to the mean class. So, our mean class is 8, diba? As mean class is the 7 to 9. So, we will assign the 0 in the mean class. So, our mean class is 7 to 9. So, we will assign that in 0. So, as it is ascending order naman, so you should place the one kay ngayon ang formula sa negation. So, negative 1, negative 1, so, tas 1, 2, 3, 4. So, it's ascending order. So, we should put the negative numbers sa taas and positive number naman sa ubos. So,
Pataas sa gihapon, negative dito sa gagmay.
or makuha marirealize ay kung itahay kung mas gamay ang dila sa mga negative numbers sila itahay kung mga dagko diri nga interval or kakuan so diri ang mga positive numbers then yes so now as we already know how to construct a unit division let's proceed then multiply the frequency by their corresponding unit division and add the products so multiply the frequency to their corresponding unit division. So 5 times negative 2 is equals to negative 2, and times negative 1, negative 9, 10 times 0 is 0, 1 times 1 is 1, so add the products. So I know, halos naman siguro sa lahat, dito na alam na yung rules kung paano ko i-add yung mga different, that has different sign to us.
Yes.
But different sign, add and copy the sign that has the highest value, or highest
Dako.
sign of the highest value, sign sa highest value. So, summation of FD is equals to negative 18. So, after that steps, we already gathered all the variables or the necessary variables for us to compute the coding method. We already have the assumed mean, which is the 8. The summation of FD is equals to negative 18. I nakalagay step 4. Determine the class size. So, in determining the class size, we just have to know kung anong pila ni kabukang natin ka. For example, 10 to 12, 10, 11, 12. So, 3
Plus
sila
interval.
kakuha.
Sa interval mo na.
O, sa interval. Ikuha mo kung pila sila kabukang.
10, 11, 12.
12,
7, 8, 9.
3. Okay na. So, itong class size is 3. So, collect na nato ang mga necessary variables para masolve na to ang mean using coding or division method. So, anti-AM is equals to 8. Summation of FD is equal to negative 18. The class size is 3 and the N is 25. So, we will just have to substitute that in the formula. So, mean is equals to 8 plus negative 18 divided by 25 times 3. So, we just have the rule, the results ang nasa sulod sa parentheses. So, negative 18 divided by 25, so it's negative 0.72. After that, the rule yapon, multiplication ang una before the addition. So, negative 0.72 divided by 3 equals to negative, it's negative. Ano siya negative? Negative 2.16 negative 2.16. So, when adding 8 plus negative 2.16, the result will be 5.84. So, as you can notice, using either midpoint and coding method, kanang mag-result na sila kanang
Same.
So, ano sa inyo kung asa yung gagawin? So now, we are already done in the mean. Let's proceed to the median.
So,
So, let's proceed naman to the median. So, median. Can you read everyone the description?
The median is the middle value in the data set with the values are arranged in ascending or descending order. If the data set has an even number of observations, the median is the average of the two middle values.
So, in simple words, median is just the middle of the distribution. So, reminder lang, when we are finding the median, the first step that we have to do is to arrange the data first, because you can just have hindi mo lang dapat na hanapon na nimo diretso ang middle without arranging the data. It's either ascending or descending. You have to arrange it first. So let's proceed naman to the properties of median, in which we will learn here when to use or when the median is efficient. So, the median is ideal for data measurement at ordinal level. So, paano di ba? Sabdan, because when the data is in ordinal, so it's very easy na to use the median because mas madali lang natin mahahanap. Then next is, it is useful when dealing with skewed or irregular distribution. What the mean is hindi siya ang mean kay dili siya kanang suitable for using for a school or a regular distribution. But median is useful when dealing with school or regular distribution, because when you're calculating the median, it doesn't affect the all numbers can affect the median. So that is one of the reasons. Next is the median is not influenced by extreme values. So as what I have said earlier, hindi masyadong naapektuhan ng median ng mga extreme values, making it a reliable measure for skewed data. Next is it may not be an actual observation in data set. What does that mean? Sometimes the median may not be an actual observation in the data set. Next is it is especially useful with the focus on the central position of the data rather than specific values. So that's the properties of the median. So now let's proceed to the solving the median. First is for computing or calculating the median for
Ungroup.
data. So in calculation for the median for ungroup data, nakita yung time na mga distribution ng add or even. So first, let's discuss how to find the median for an add data. When you say add, bungkay mo. So, can you read everyone?
When the number of cases is odd.
Arrange the scores from highest to lowest or vice versa. Write down all the scores, the median and the middlemost.
Diba?
Middlemost.
Understandable naman siya, diba? So, ano lang. Na for example, here the data, the 20, 21, 19, 19, 18, 22, 23, 16, 15, 22, 21, 18, 25. So, the first thing you have to do is to arrange it from it's either lowest to highest or highest to lowest. After that, you will just find the middlemost. So, here in the example, the 20 is the middlemost. So, it is our median. So, what if naman if it is even data or pares? So, when the number of data is even, arrange the observation in ascending or descending order, pares na yan, arrange, then add the two middle scores, then divide it by 2. Satan?
Yes.
So, example, dungagan na siya isa ka data. So, napares na siya. So, i-arrange yapon, then di ba, pila na siya ka data? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So, ulang na. So, dapat na 20 dapat.
14 siya dire.
14, 3, 14. Dapat na rin ulang.
Basta
Pero
may
dapat 20. So, 14 ang data nato. So, what are the middle numbers for 14? The 7 and the 8. Right? So, you will identify the variables or the numbers na ma-found mo sa 7 and 8 nga place. So, after that, you will add them and divide it by 2. Here, the 7 place is the 20 and the 8 is 20. So, you just have to add that 20 plus 20, divide it mo sa 2. Nga siya pag-even. Sabtan?
Yes.
So, muna sa saan group, let's proceed naman sa group data. So, in calculating the median for group data, we have this formula where median is equal to LB plus
Lower boundary.
N over 2 minus CF less than the start over FM multiplied by C, where LB is the lower boundary of the class containing the median, or subtract 0.4 from lower limit of the class containing the median. So, maintindihan lang natin. Then CF less than or cumulative frequency or the sum of the frequencies of all the class. Cumulative frequency or the sum of the frequency of all the classes preceding the class containing the median. And FM is the frequency in the class containing the median. The C is the width of the class, or pares na siya sa CS or the class size. C and CS, the same na siya width of the class. Then X, naman na circle rin ha. Nga nila. X curl na, read as X curl is equals to median. Ito siya, X curl. So, here are the steps in computing the median. So, the first is, we have to fill in the cumulative frequency column by adding the frequency of scores from from the lower end upward if the scores in the class interval columns are arranged from highest to lowest. However, if the scores are written from lowest to highest, the cumulative frequency can be obtained by adding the frequency of scores from the upper part downward. So, maintindihan natin yan maya-maya. Mas makapag ng tayo example. So, the second step is find the median class by dividing the total numbers of cases by 2 and then locate the column CF where n divided by 2 exactly or nearly lies. Then get LB by subtracting 0.5 from the lower limit of that class. Then the third step is find less than cumulative. Kung basta tayo ito, naman ay kontra, negative na step. Find less than cumulative frequency. It is the cumulative frequency of the class before the median class. Next is find the frequency of the median class or FM. Next is determine C or the class width. It is the size of each class. Then last step is we have to substitute the given information to the formula. So for us to understand, there are example. So example na siya table. Atong table sa pagkuhan, pakita na itong mean. Very good, mo ito siya. So we will solve the median. So the first step is
Cumulative.
find the cumulative frequency. So nag-read ito mga text.
The cumulative frequency of the lowest class is the same to its absolute frequency. To determine the CF of the next value or class, add the last cumulative frequency to the next value's absolute frequency.
So, one, as the others said, the cumulative frequency of the lowest class is just the same to its absolute frequency. So, here, what is the lowest class? It is 1, 2, 3. Una siya ang lowest class, di ba? We will identify the numbers by just looking the numbers. We can identify what is the lowest class. So, according to what it said, the cumulative frequency of the lowest class is just the same to its absolute frequency. So, the absolute frequency of this class is just 5. So, its cumulative frequency will be also 5. Just the same sa lowest, ha? 5 mani ang frequency, so 5 pod. So, in finding the cumulative frequency of the second class, we will just have to add the last cumulative frequency, which is the 5, to the absolute value of the next class, so which is 9. So, first to find its cumulative frequency, we will just have to add 5 plus 9. Isn't yan?
Yes.
It's 14. So, next naman is 7 to 9. So, it said, add the last cumulative frequency to the absolute frequency of the class. The last frequency is 14. We'll just add 10, which is the absolute frequency of 7 to 9, for you to find the cumulative frequency of this class, which is 24, and so on. Para sa na, 5 plus 9 is 14, then 10 plus 14 plus 10 is 24, then 24 plus 1 is equals to 25 plus, no? So, naintindihan ko kung paano kunin yung cumulative frequency?
Yes.
Naintindihan? Naintindihan. Let's proceed to the next step. Find the median class and the lower class boundary of that class. So, can you read everyone?
Get the median class by dividing the total number of cases by 2, and then locate the class whose cumulative frequency is greater than or nearest to. The class is called the median class.
So, and how to get the median class? So, it's just for us to determine the median class, we have first to how to solve or to divide the number of scores or the number of frequency rather to divide it by 2. And after that, the result of n divided by 2, for example here, the n is 25. So you will have to divide it by 2, which is 25 divided by 2 is 5 now, 12.5. 12.5. So after that now, locate the class whose cumulative frequency is greater than or nearest to the n2. So you will find the cumulative frequency nga doon siya sa 12.4 pero mas dako siya sa 12.4. So that will be our median class. For example, 12.4 is the so hanapon mo din sa cumulative frequency kung asa ang cumulative frequency nga duol sa 12.4 pero mas dako sa 12.4. So diri sa squad atong table, what is the kanang nearest cumulative frequency nga mas dako sa squad? Sa squad. 40. So, we have to kanang ginamit ninyo kanang i-remind sa inyong self na it's nearest and greater. So, for example, kita na may kuan n divided by 2 is 11. Tapos kita na may cumulative kita kini kay 11. Tapos what if ang inyong data diri kay kuan 9, 10, tapos 13 diri. So, sa video nimo, ang 11 or ang 13? 13. It should be 13 because as what it said, nearest siya sa kuan, nearest siya sa n divided by 2, nearest siya and also greater. So, dili pasabot nga doon siya sa n divided by 2, tapos gamay siya muna to siya. So, dapat dako siya sa kuan n divided by 2. Para saan eh?
What if equal?
So, mo to? Nearest mat or kuan, greater. So, well, mas nindot kung equal siya.
Ito na mismo. Ito na mismo.
Kung 14.
Kung 2 point na adra ito, 12.4. Ito na tayo mismo.
Oo, 12.4 mo na to ang piliyon din so dili ng 14. Basta dako din siya, dili siya mogamay sa kuan. Sabtan?
Yes.
So, ako na to ang media. So, hence, the class containing this 14 is the median class. So, median class na to is the 4 to 6. Median class man. Class na ipakita. So, you have to get the LB or the lower boundary. So, how to get the LB? So, we just have to subtract 0.5 from the lower limit of the class. So, here we can identify with the, it is 4 is the lower limit and the 6 is the upper limit. So, for us to get the LB, we just have to subtract the lower limit, divide out minus 0.5 to get the LB. So, here, 4 minus 0.5. So, our LB or the lower boundary is 3.5. And then yan. Yan. Next is find the less than cumulative frequency. So, paano ba kunin yung less than cumulative frequency or the CF or less than? It is very, parang the cumulative or the less than cumulative frequency is the cumulative frequency of the class before the median class. So, di ba, in the previous slide, we already determined the median class. What is the median class again?
Middle.
No, the median class is,
Dividing.
the median class is
Contain.
ito, diba? Hence, the class containing this 14 is the median class. So, diba, this is the class. So, as we already determine naman cumulative frequency, ano siya diri ang kanadang class nga nag-contain sa cumulative frequency nga 14, mo na siya nga to ang median class. So, hence, atong ang median class is 4 to 6. So, here naman, to find the less than cumulative frequency, it is the cumulative frequency of the class before the median class. So, kaya kini may atong 4 to 6 is our median class. So, for us to find the cumulative frequency, less than cumulative frequency, just have to determine the cumulative frequency before the median class. So, how to determine the before, diba? Before median class, you just, sometimes some data is naka-order siya in descending order. You just have to, and in determining kita lang before and after, determining kita na dili lang natungod kay nasa sa babaw ug nasa sa ubos. It depends on the number. So if it's ang before kita na katong yung gagmay. So ang after is 7.9. So here 4 to 6 ang before kita na ako is 1.3. So if it is in descending order, bisan pag nanang 1.3 sa ubos, logyan mo na siya ang nag-precede sa atong median class na 4 to 6. Ano yan? Ito na paano ng less than cumulative frequency. So next is find the frequency of the median class or f(n). So what is the median class again? Correct. So next is we have to find the frequency of the median class. So tanawin na itong table. So the frequency of 4 to 6 is 9. So then after that, determine C or the class width. So class width or the class size. So we already know how to determine the class size. You just have to determine the class interval in each one. So after that, we already gathered all the necessary variables where we can necessary variables to compute the median for a group data. So we already nakuha na to yung LB or the lower boundary, which is 3.5. The N is 25. The less than cumulative frequency is 5. The FM or the median frequency, the median class frequency is 9. Then class size is 3. So we just have to substitute it to the formula. So muna na siya. Median is the LB times the NAP. Then substitute the LB, the N or the number of frequency, the total number of frequency divided by 2, subtract by minus the less than cumulative frequency divided by 9, then 3. Then on that, first we have to do is to first divide this one, then so get the result, subtract it to the 5, so muna makuha na to 7.5. After that, 7.5 divide 9, so i-divide na to, makakot ang result na 0.8333. So after that, multiply nyo sa 3, kay iba the rules. First, multiply yung MDAS, so multiplication you do na before addition. So multiply it by 3, so the result will be 2.5, then add that 3.5 plus 2.5, which is equals to 6, so that our median class is 6. Naintindihan po ko paano ko yung median class?
Yes. Median.
Now, tapos na po tayo sa median. Let's proceed to the mode. So, can you read the definition of mode?
The mode is the value that occurs most frequently in a data set. It can be used for both numerical and categorical data.
So, mode is the value that occurs most frequently in the distribution. So, there are types of mode. So, first is the unimodal. Unimodal is a distribution with a single mode. So, a distribution nga isa rin mode, tawagan na kay unimodal. Pag bimodal naman, dalawa. Pag trimodal, it's 3 modes. It has 3 modes. Pag multimodal naman, it can be more than 2 modes. Pwede din mo siya tawag multimodal, pero pwede sa bimodal, trimodal. Basta ang multimodal, kaya contain na, ang distribution kaya contain na siya more than 2 modes. So what are the properties of the mode? First is, the mode is useful when the data is measured at the nominal level. So di ba, Miss Keyboard discuss what is nominal level, di ba? Which katong inakuan mo nga, girl is the 1 represent the girls and 2 represent the boys. So it is very okay siya to use in that level of measurement because it's very easy na kayo. In that way, using the mode, you can already identify kung kinsa ang mas daghan, di ba? O kung kinsa ang quantity, di ang mas daghan ng so ano to, may ang na ano. Next is, it provides a quick answer to question about the most common score or value. Then, the mode is typically used when the distribution is normal or when identifying the most common occurrence is important. So, then is, it may not be unique as some data sets may have more than 1 mode. So, in this distribution, dili na siya kanang the same maintain ang mode. And sometimes na siya maglahi-lahi ang mode and sometimes magdaghan ang mode sa distribution. So, the mode is not influenced by extreme value. So, parehas sa median, ang mode is not influenced by extreme value. So, it is also useful for as a measure when the data or the distribution is good or regular. So let's proceed to the mode for the group data. So it's not solving. So can you read everyone?
In the case of ungrouped data, the value of the mode can be obtained through inspection. Thus, no computation is needed. In some instances, the mode might exist or it might not exist. If it exists, it can be more than one value.
So there are examples. So like sa A, as you can see in the kuan, the letter A kanang the data na distribution wala tayong nakikita ang kuan kanang nagbalik na na data. So here sa A walay mode.
Walay mode.
So no mode. So the B naman to notice na ay balik. So that is
61.
the
61.
So it has the mode is 61. So what type of of mode is ano kanang ang kinakapan sa bimodal?
Oh.
No, it's
Uni.
unimodal because it's only have
One.
mode. So next is here. What numbers can na balik?
45.
It's 45 and 39.
40,
So the
39.
modes are
Bimodal.
45 and 39.
39
and
by yung mode, yung modal.
Ay, modal.
so next one is now is calculate the mode for group data. So when determining the mode for a group data, it requires calculation. So for us to know the mode, so here are the formula. Here is the formula of mode. So x bar is equals to LMO plus Fm minus F1 over 2Fm minus F1 minus F2 multiplied by C, where LMO is the lower boundary of modal class. Lower boundary, then FMO is the frequency of the modal class. The F1 is the frequency of the class before the modal class. The F2 is the frequency of the class after the modal class. Then C is the class width para sa median. Then X, read as I hat, read as X hat. So, ang kuha na niya siya shape like X, tapos may mo siya na triangle. Ang kuha sa represent sa mode. So here are the steps in calculating the mode for group data. The first step is to find the class with the highest frequency. So that is the modal class. Then find the lower boundary of the modal class. Found in step 1 by subtracting 0.5 na, within a 0.05 from the lower limit. Third is identify the frequency of the modal class. Fourth is identify F1 or the frequency of the class before the modal class, and F2 the frequency of the class after the modal class, and the C or the class size. So substitute na yun to given information. So to understand, there are examples, the same data lang din siya. So the first step you have to do is to find the class width with the highest frequency. Hello everyone.
Hi.
Find the class with the highest frequency, that is the modal class. So as you can see here in the data, what is the highest frequency? It is the 10. So find the class. So the class with the highest frequency is the 7.9. So we already know the class, the modal class. So let's proceed to the determining the lower boundary. This is 0.5. 0.5. So find the lower class boundary of the modal class found in step 1 by subtracting 0.5 from the lower limit. So the lower limit of this class is 7. So for us to find the lower boundary of the mode, so we just have to subtract the 7 minus 0.5, so it's equals to
6.5.
So none of LMO. So next is identify the frequency of the modal class. So what is our modal class again? Our modal class. So
Is the
correct. So our modal class is the 79. So how did we come up with the modal class? By finding the highest frequency. So now let's to identify the frequency of the modal class. So finding the frequency, so just 10. So none tayo FMO and the lower boundary. The next is you have to identify the F1 and the F2. So the F1 is the frequency of the class before the modal class. So direct naman sa ascending order siya, so we already know where is the before, where is the after. So the F1 is before the median, the modal, before frequency of the class before the modal class. So frequency of the class before the modal class. So ano siya? So frequency ani ang para sa F1. So which is F1 is equals to 9. Then the F2 naman is the frequency of the class after the modal class. So after, so 3. So frequency ani, so which is 1. Then after that, we will find the class size. So the class size is the class interval lang. substitute the given information to the formula. So, ang formula, so just substitute. So, LMO is 6.5, then FMO is the 10, then F1 is 9, then FMO 10, FM1, FM2, then solve the line. So, multiply 2 times 10 is 20. So, pag manana, pwede na ito subtract. So, 10 minus 9 is equals to 1. Then, 20 minus 9 minus 1 is equals to 10. After that, divide it. So, 0.1. After dividing, multiply it by 3 and add dayon siya sa 6.5. So, ang atong the result will be 6.8. Nantindihan ko paano kanin?
Yeah.
So, we already done to the sa kuan. So, 3 categories of measures of central tendency, the mean, the median, and mode. So, those measures is very important because in that kuan, we can have one representative value which we can use or we can already use for us to interpret the whole performance of the class. So, it is a reminder for us that there are specific properties ang tatlong categories na yun. So, we have to learn those properties and to kuan because in not all distribution, ma-apply na to yung yung 3 categories. There are specific situation nga dili na siya ma-apply para sa mas good. So, dili na ito ma-apply ang mean. So, we have to understand that because in order for us to have kanang makakuntag result or sa mode nga useful yun siya or kanang reliable yun siya para ma-use na to as interpretation, gamitan to for interpreting the data. So, after this, na tayo discuss which is the kurtosis. So, kurtosis. Can you read everyone?
Kurtosis is a statistical measure that quantifies the shape of a probability of distribution. It provides information about the tails and pickedness of compared to a normal distribution. Tailedness refers to how often the outliers occur. Data distribution is the degree to which data values are concentrated around the mean.
So, kurtosis is also a statistical measures which here focuses on the it quantifies the shape of the probability of the distribution. So here, ang focus niya siya is to find the outliers or mga values or to determine the shape of the values for us to have a great interpretation sa mga data atong nag-gathered. So, in kurtosis, there are 3 and now solving ang kurtosis. So, in solving the kurtosis for ungroup data, we can use this formula. So, I don't have an example because standard deviation is not hindi pa siya na-introduce. So, hindi ko siya wala akong example. So, formula but in computing the kurtosis for ungroup data is given by K, which kurtosis was the summation of the X divided minus the mean to the power of 4 over n or the number of scores or the observation multiplied by S4 or to the power of 4 na lang. So, ang formula naman for computing kurtosis for group data is K is equal to summation of frequency multiplied by xm minus mean to the power of 4 over n to the power of S. Standard deviation to the power of 4. So, kurtosis has 3 categories or types. Types of kurtosis. So, it is the mesocortic, cryptocortic, and polycortic. So, these categories of kurtosis will enable us to determine the characteristic of the distribution that we have or the data na meron tayo. So, first is the mesocortic. I'm going to read everyone.
A distribution with mesocortic kurtosis peak, a tail shape as a normal distribution. It has a kurtosis value of around 0, indicating that its tails are neither too heavy nor too light compared to a normal distribution. Any distribution with kurtosis of approximately 3 is mesocortic.
So, mesocortic is forms like a bell shape. So it is just the same for it kanang doon yung siya kaya for sa normal distribution for parehas na sila. So this example of data. Example na if kini ka siya, example natin siya, scores ni siya sa students. Scores, kini scores ni siya sa students. Ayun na nabasahin sa ubos. Scores ni sa students, mas mali siya ang frequency. So, we can say, ang mesocortic daw, it forms like a bell shape or kung mag-solve man ta, matawag na itong mesocortic ang distribution if it is equal to P. So, the interpretation, kung makakuha na tayo, if ang kurtosis daw if ang kurtosis daw sa usa ka data or karang sa distribution sa mga data is 3, we can say that the question daw nga itong gagamit with terms in assessment nga kanang scenario is kanang it is neither difficult or neither nasa yun. So, ano ang kita sa assessment na ito basihan, tama ra ang question na gibuhat kaya dili siya kayo sa'yo, dili ko siya kayo result kaya as it resulted nga kanang dili kayo daghan ang naka-scores o gamay, dili ko daghan kayo naka-score sa
Dako.
dako. So, na-distribute pa kayo ang scores.
Pantay lang.
Then, pag ano naman, leptocortic. So, can you read that or what?
A distribution with leptocortic cortosis has a heavier tails and a sharper peak than the normal distribution. It has a positive cortosis value, indicating that it has more extreme outliers than a normal distribution. This type of distribution is often associated with higher peakedness probability of extreme values. A cortosis of more than 3.
So, we can, when solving a cortosis, if the result is more than 3, we can conclude that the distribution is leptocortic. So, in shape, in the diagram, we can show, ang the shape sa leptocortic is like here. So, mas taas, pasabutan na, peak kayo ang kuan, ang fitness niya kay dako, pasabutan na kay, mas dagan daw, kung sa assessment pa, mas dagan naka-scores na sa mean, mas daghay ko ang most of the students scores the average score. So this, some interpreted, we can interpret the assessment or the performance of the student. Here, pag leptocortic daw ang result, it's either ang mga students na nag-study for, isayunan na sila sa exam, isayunan sila or alagay dito sa yun or sa when we focus on the assessment, ang assessment might be to parang easy ba to mas daghan naka-score sa average score, but also it has extreme values kaya because there are some niya ko nga mas kanang merong students pa rin na kanang nakagain ng kanang gagmay kayo nga scores and meron po garang kakaunti lang ng students ang nakagain po ng highest score. So, meron siyang sa paggawa mo ng scores or sa performance ng students because here we can interpret that the assessment that you made is either too easy or too difficult kay gamay naman ang nakakuha. Ano ba to? Okay. Too easy or too difficult kay gamay naman ang nakakuha sa highest score. Then next is the platycortic. A distribution with platycortic cortosis has lighter tails and a flatter peak than the normal distribution. It has a negative cortosis value, indicating that it has fewer extreme outliers than a normal distribution. This type of distribution is often associated with less thickness and a lower probability of extreme values. So, a cortosis of less than 3. So, when solving the cortosis, if the result come up with less than siya sa 3, so we can conclude that the distribution is platycortic. So, this diagram of the platycortic. So, platycortic ay kung siya, marag lapad ang iyang pagka-curve. That means na gamay lang nakakuha sa average score, pero pantay-pantay lang nakakuha ba sa sides, mas dagay nakakuha lower score, pero gamay lang nakakuha sa mean score, pero kanang dikit-dikit talaga niya ang results. time. His score is 25, or na nakuha nga 20, tapos pag score mo sa nga 20, kaya nakakuha ko nga students, ay kita sa 25 na scores, nakakuha kay 10 students ang nakakuha ng 25 na scores. Then sa 20 naman nga scores, napagya po ay 19, then sa 26 na ay 18, so parang dikit-dikit ang results. So that is platycortex. So we'll just have to kung resolve na ito ang cortosis for us to determine the kung mesocortic ba siya, platycortic or leptocortic. We just have to know the if the cortosis is equal to 3, the type of cortosis is it is a mesocortex. Basta it is equals to 3. Pag ano siya, more than 3 ang result, it is leptocortex. Pag less than naman ang 3, less than naman sa 3, ang paano yung static cortosis, static cortex, ang cortex. So, naintindihan po? So, is there any question? Clarification? Saying na, let's proceed to our assessment. Ay, today, conclusion pa din. Sorry. So, conclusion. Measures of central tendency provide a concise summary of a data set, allowing educators to quickly grasp the overall distribution and characteristic of the data. By calculating the mean, median, or mode, analysts or educators can capture the central focus or typical value of the data set, helping to simplify complex information. Understanding the properties and appropriate application of each measure is key to effective data analysis. The mean, median, and mode each have unique strengths and are suited for different types of data or situations. Therefore, it is very crucial to understand when and why to use each measure to ensure the accurate and meaningful analysis. Additionally, cortosis is an important tool for understanding the shape of the score distribution. It helps educators to see how scores are distributed around the average, whether they are concentrated or more spread out, and reveals the presence of outlier or spread values. So cortosis gives insight into whether the distribution has a high peak or heavier tails. So this deeper understanding of cortosis can guide us educators in evaluating and the effectiveness of their assessment lang pattern and to make an adjustment to better meet the students' needs. So that's all my topics. So is there any question? Clarification. Ano na clarification? Yeah. Let's proceed to our assessment. So first, assessment test 1 is identification. So identify the correct term or concept that corresponds to the description provided. You will be given 20 seconds to answer each question. So, 1 whole lang ay napatay test. 1 whole? 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So, pass paper to the front.
Paliog ko.
So, wala man na akong paano. Muna yung assignment ha. So, i-send na ako ng picture.